Hi friends, my name is Debbie, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be painting a beautiful loose flower bouquet in a glass vase. For paper, I'm going to be using 100% cotton paper. I'm going to be using my Paul Rubens palette set, but of course you don't have to go shopping. Use what you have at home. I'm going to show you what we're going to be painting. Is this beautiful flower bouquet. And just to remind you, the picture I put on the video is just a reference photo to inspire me to paint. I do not paint realistic, so let's jump in and get started. So we're gonna start off by painting the white flowers. For this one, I did a mix of my gray, Payne's gray, green gold, and sienna. Really light on the color. Remember, this is white, so we're really light on the color, using lots of water. And if you don't have a flat brush, you can use a round brush, whatever you have at home that works for you. For me, this is an easy way to make flowers, but you can use anything that you have. I have a dirty palette here, so I'm just using the leftover browns that I have in here, but you can use any brown that you have just to give some shadows into your white flowers. Then I flip the brush and I'm using the sharpest part of my brush just to make those lines, those veins into the flower, just to bring some more definition to the flower. Then for this one, I'm using my sap green with cadmium yellow, and I'm dropping some of the cadmium yellow on the side, and then added some of the ultramarine blue just to give some shadows in some areas. Then I'm using my magenta, really light on the color, bringing those petals, and then I'm using again the back of my brush to bring those lines into the petals. You can use anything that is sharp and just to give some more definition to your flowers. Sometimes I just use water and whatever leftover I have in my brush, and sometimes I pick up the paint. So whenever I see the highlights, I just use my water, and whenever I see more contrast, I'm going to be using some of the paint. Bringing some of my purples in some areas, especially the outside of the petals, just to give those darker colors to my flower. For this one, I'm going to be using my red from my palette. And like I said, whenever I see highlights, I'm going to be using water. Whenever I see shadows, I'm going to be using more pigment. You can see I'm picking up some of my red, and then I'm cleaning my brush and just picking up some water and whatever leftover I have on my brush. Flipping again, making those veins for the flowers. Just give some more extra definition to your flowers and just make them pop even more. Then I'm putting this one with my alizarin crimson, and sometimes I put some of the purple color on the edge, just the tip of the flowers. For this one, I'm going to be using my cadmium yellow and a touch of my orange, just to give some shadows into the flower. We will be going back, this is the first layer, so we will be going back to the flowers, bringing more highlights and more shadows to it. Then I'm putting this tiny little flower here, orange, and making those lines inside the flower with the back of the brush, bringing some extra something. Then the cadmium yellow again, the leftover dirty palette that I have, picking up some of the browns in there, dropping into this white flower. For the flower, I'm using the same white color that we did for the first one, and I'm just adding some of my red in some parts of the flower. Like you see, the center of the flowers has some red areas, and that's what I'm doing. Sometimes when I put the paint, the paper's still too wet, so it's gonna bleed. So make sure you clean your brush and go back to it and do some lifting, picking up some of the pigment and bringing those highlights back into your flower. So friends, don't forget to check out my Etsy store where I have a lot of my paintings here from the 2U channel. Also, there's some other paintings in there. I'm gonna be doing different things, so please check it out. I'm gonna be using shells and some other things adding to my store, so please don't forget to check it out. Now for this flower, I'm using my purple, lots of water, really light on the color. We're gonna keep this flower nice and light. And then for these tiny little flowers, I did a mix of my alizarin crimson. I added some ultramarine blue, and then I have a paddle of ultramarine blue, and then I'm mixing as I go. Sometimes I put blue, sometimes I put the purple, sometimes I just pick up water and put water in it. So it's gonna give you this beautiful kind of multicolor in the flower that is gonna make it look more organic. And that's what we want. We don't want just one simple color, we want different colors inside the flower. Then for the center one, I'm using my cadmium yellow, really light on the color. Then I'm adding some yellow ochre to the tips. For this one here, I realized that I was putting too much water, so I will be lifting some of that water, extra water in there, putting those beautiful super light flowers on top, and then picking up some of my concentrated pigment for the tips. Somehow I lost the footage for the leaves, but this was just my sap green with ultramarine blue, making this beautiful eucalyptus color. Really pretty. And remember, in a bouquet, we want to keep everything nice and compact. You want to add a lot of greenery to your bouquet. That's going to make it look more natural, more organic, and make sure you have different values of greens. So make sure you have lights, mediums, and dark. That's going to make your bouquet pop. It's going to make it look more natural. And I'm just putting the stems, connecting all of the flowers to the stems. Sometimes I put the lighter ones, sometimes I put darker ones. Remember, in a bouquet, we don't want empty spaces. We want to make sure all of your white spaces are used properly. So sometimes you put stems, sometimes you put leaves, and make sure you have different values of your greens. So put the lights, put the darker ones, and put the medium. And the more you can add, the better it's gonna look. Sometimes just pick up water and press on your brush, and it's gonna give you these perfect shapes of leaves. You cannot go wrong with doing just that. Then I'm adding some shadow to my center flower here with some brown, and then darker brown for the tip of the flower. Adding some glaze to this flower here. That means you're gonna pick up your paint and you're gonna put it in the center of your flower, and then the tips you're gonna go darker and just add it to the tips of the flower. Same on this one here, just bringing some more of the red inside the flower, some kind of faded away. So we want to bring those colors back into the flower, and don't forget to blend. Make sure you blend your colors. You don't want hard lines in there. Then for this one, I'm adding just the same color, a little bit more pigment, and giving some extra shadows in there. And for shadows, it's pretty much intuition. There's no right or wrong where you put your shadows and your highlights. Just look at your reference photo and try to understand where do you see the darkest part and where do you see the lightest part. So try to copy that into the paper. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you give this video a like. It's gonna help this channel to grow bigger, and it will help other people to be able to watch this video. Maybe they can learn something new, or maybe they're just watching for fun. So please don't forget to subscribe. And we're continuing with the center flower. For this one, I'm just adding a little bit of my yellow ochre and burnt umber, making those lines for my flower so it doesn't disappear. We have a light background, but then I'm gonna be adding some color to it to make these flowers pop. Then for this orange flower, I'm adding some of my burnt umber, really light on the color. And then this flower, I'm just using the exact same color as the first layer, just bringing those lines back into the flower. Then I'm adding darker green to this flower, and I'm just blending the rest in the center of the flower. Make sure you blend those lines, and then I'm putting some darker color, bringing those veins in some of the leaves. We want some of these leaves to have some veins so they kind of, stand out a little bit. And the easiest way to make those leaves is take your brush, press on the brush, and it's going to give you perfect marks every time. Just adding some shadows to this orange flower, bringing some lights in there. And you press on the belly, it's going to give you thicker lines. And if you just use the tip of the brush, it's going to give you thin lines. Then I put the center with some of the Payne's Gray. And I'm making those beautiful eyelashes for the flowers. And then I'm just adding tiny little dots around the eyelashes. That's going to make your flower look more natural and cuter. So we want to make sure she's looking really good. Really tiny dots. And it's better than too many because then they get too much. Then I made a mix of my wash and some cadmium yellow just to bring some highlights to this flower. It kind of went back away, and so is this one here. Then I'm adding some more. Actually, this is the vase. So I'm using my Payne's Gray, really light on the color, and I'm making those marks for this vase. And we're going to be blending as we go. I'm just putting the lines first, and then we're going to get a clean brush, and we're going to blend all of the marks in there. We don't want lines. We want to make sure everything is nice and blended. And for the highlights, bleed-proof white, acrylic white, or wash are going to be your best friends for watercolor. That's how you bring those highlights into your vase. And if you see the reference photo, you can see the highlights. So that's where we're going to be adding our white. And then you can see the darkest part going around the vase. And that's where we're going to put our shadows. So always keep in mind where your highlights and your shadows are. Look at your reference photo and try to copy what you see. I see my shadows are on the right and the bottom of this vase. So I put those in there, and then I'm just blending those lines that I put on the vase. And I'm just adding water, blending those colors. I'm here in Florida, so my paper dries really quickly. But if it's not blending for you, you can always add a lot of water with Payne's Gray, and that's gonna blend your color. Just try to scrub a little bit the paper where the lines are, and the paint is gonna move. And you can always add some Payne's Gray just to blend it even more. Make sure you clean your brush so you're not just moving the paint. And then I'm just dropping some of my Payne's Gray in some areas. I'm picking up some water, putting water in there, blending this part of the vase. And then I'm doing some lifting. That means I'm picking up paint, putting on a paper towel, dab on the paper towel, and bringing those highlights back into the vase. So I needed some more highlights, and that's when my bleed-proof white comes handy. I'm putting those highlights back into the glass. As you can see, it's just going in some areas, and sometimes I use my finger instead of using a paper napkin to blend those highlights. For me, it works better, but you can use your brush, or you can use a napkin to blend those areas. And I'm just putting some of the highlights on the round piece of the glass and also the bottom of the glass, and blending as you go. make sure you blend. You don't leave any lines that are too hard. Make sure you blend it. Then when we're done with this, I went ahead and painted the back. So you can paint any color that you like. I put yellow, but you can put any color that you prefer. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Take care, friends. Bye bye for now.